Antioch Community High School. My name is Caleb Kozaborski, and this is your weekly weather forecast, number 12. Now let's hop right into next week. This is going to be the week of the 11th of December. Obviously, we're getting right into the thick of December. It's going to be pretty cold, as you would expect. So for Monday, low of mid-20s and a high of mid-30s, pretty breezy. Tuesday, we got a men's bowling tournament over at Antioch Lanes. Heavily encourage you to go there and watch them. Low around high 20s and a high of mid-30s. Wednesday, we got men's basketball over here in Antioch. Once again, encourage you to come there as well. Low 20s and a high of low 30s. Thursday, there's also women's bowling going on, once again at Antioch Lanes. Low mid-20s and a high of mid-20s. Friday, we got the Pack the Place wrestling event here in Antioch. Once again, that is probably the most important event that you can come to this week. Low 30s and a high of low 40s. Gonna get a little bit warmer. And on Saturday, there's a JV wrestling invitational here in Antioch. Low 30s and a high of low 40s. As you can see, for a temperature outlook, it's gonna be pretty average. There's no above average, no below average. Pretty common. For the precipitation, however, it will be a bit drier. We're not gonna see that much snow and not that much rain. And as I covered the December 10th outbreak of 2021 last forecast, there was an outbreak that happened 5 days after that. It was a derecho that happened around in Iowa. So that is what I will be covering today. So, as you can see, it was a very widespread event, mostly covering Iowa. But once again, you got some tornado warnings in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska. But obviously, when you see most of the brunt was over here near Omaha, heading almost, it was actually all to the north of Des Moines. But the big thing was that there was a moderate risk covering most of Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and also Wisconsin. We had an enhanced risk down to Topeka in Kansas. Once again, also Kansas City in Missouri. But yeah, and once again, the SPC really covered this event with the most upfrontness that they could, because once again, 5 days after a huge tornado outbreak, and then now you got to do this again for an entirely different event, because a tornado outbreak is fairly different than a derecho, which is what actually happened. So once again, it says robust storms are likely form over here, which they did because they continued to Iowa. So storms are starting to develop and rapidly intensify as they race northeastward this afternoon. Widespread severe winds of 60 to 75 miles per hour are likely. Once again, they knew this was going to happen. That's why there was the moderate risk. So that means that there's a very high likelihood of the event actually happening. Once again, threat of severe winds 60 to 85 plus miles per hour. As you can see, as the event got more intense, they also highlighted that. Once again, here they kept the 60 to 85 mile per hour. They also actually included some strong tornadoes eastward into Iowa and also northwestern Missouri. Another thing about this, there was a big blizzard happening on the back end of the storm system, because once again, during December, you got a huge storm system with a ton of moisture coming in for the derecho. There's going to be a blizzard because there was massive winds because the low pressure system, it was so deep and so low, and that what actually causes most of the winds in most storms is depending on how low that low pressure system is. And here, once again, widespread damaging winds likely and a few embedded tornadoes are also likely. So this thing was very long-lived, and it covered, all of Iowa heading into Wisconsin. Once again, here, particularly damaging wind gusts likely, and that actually why there was a ton of severe thunderstorm warnings. But what happens with those is there's different levels. There's just your baseline 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Then there's 70 mile per hour wind gusts, which I think is considered a considerable damage threat. But for this one, obviously when it says particularly damaging wind gusts, they issued a particularly damaging severe thunderstorm warning, which is around 90 to 100 miles per hour. So that's when you get your alerts on your phones for severe thunderstorm warnings, is when the threat is that severe. It's just like a tornado warning. And once again, damaging wind gusts likely, tornadoes possible, especially in the northern areas, as you saw with the tornado warnings, ton of them in Wisconsin. Here are the outbreak statistics. We had a total of 120 tornadoes. It's a big event. The interesting though, 33 EF2 tornadoes. There was no EF3, no EF4. It was all on the lower end, although EF2 still is a strong tornado. The top wind speed in this event was anywhere from 100 to 112 miles per hour. The issue with that is there was about 100 mile per hour wind gusts in the baseline derecho, but I believe there was a localized gust of 112 somewhere, I think, near Omaha. Total of 7 deaths, and there was over 600,000 power outages, mostly covering Iowa once again, and a total cost of at least $1.8 billion. A lot of money. Here is the radar loop. As you can see, very, very well-defined line. Heading right into Omaha, we had the tornado warnings pop up everywhere. So all the National Weather Services, in Omaha, Sioux City, they had a lot of work ahead of them to forecast all these tornadoes and look at radar every single time and determine, oh, there's going to be a tornado right there. Once again, here's another radar loop, and you can see the storm system starts in Nebraska and Kansas, and really it continues all the way. As you can see, it ends mostly about north-central Wisconsin. You can see it actually dissipated before it even reached us, but once again, all these dots show wind speeds, and the most wind speeds was really in that central Iowa, almost more western Iowa. And that is my weekly weather forecast number 12.